All right, now that we've covered the why you need to organize, let's go into the how. So this is a continuation of that face-to-face training. For those of you that couldn't attend it, you can enter the e-training here. So it's still me, but I'm showing you how to do it here. And this is the one that you may want to start, pause, go back and go through as you're going through as you need help with certain things. So let's just go ahead and get into this. You will notice that when you log into Blackboard, and you have to be logged into Blackboard, they have lots of the just-in-time training already created for you. So if you click on it, and then it'll take you to the A to Z or the different routes, and you can go to where those different things you need. Now, typically when you log in the first time for your course and you've never done anything to it, you're going to see a screen that looks simply like this. It literally just says your class name, there's nothing in there, and you have your navigation menu, your that course management on the left-hand side, and that's it. I've had this question asked to me quite rarely from faculty. Oh my goodness, what is this box that slash through it? That simply means you can see it, but the students cannot see it. So like the faculty alerts is the default that's in there. And what it is this will send alerts to you letting you know who's logged in, who hasn't logged in, if anybody's in jeopardy of failing, they need X amount of students haven't done this quiz. And it's kind of a way to let you know that you need to send a reminder to them, hey, get your work done. If you don't like this can be removed, it can be turned off. Don't worry, because you can always go back later and run reports to find out who logged in on what and how much time they spent in it. There's lots of different things you can still do. So if you find that this is something that's a little too much for you and it overwhelms you, it's okay, we can remove it. You will get these email alerts that are going to come to you. You can keep them, you can delete them, etc. Like I said, this is just like a warning, hey, this is what's going on in your course. That's what the faculty alerts are for. Now, when you log into Blackboard and a student logs into Blackboard, it's very similar. So there's not going to be a whole heck of a lot of differences here for some things. So like an example, here's the exact same course. See the little square at the slash through it? That means that's what I see, but that's not what the students see because it's been turned off. So they don't see that. Student logs in, this is what they see. Notice it's a nice, clean, easy. They really do not have to do any real scrolling to get to anything, which is what we're going for. We want that kind of organization. How do I add items and how to organize them? It's actually very simple once you sit down and you create and figure out how you want it to look. So you can add multiple different things into your navigation menu simply by clicking on that little plus sign here, and I'll show you in the Blackboard class in a minute, and then picking what it is that you want to add. Now, you need to kind of know what those things are, right? So here's an example of the template, what I call the template course that I've created for y'all, that if you want to get started, and you don't want to be overwhelmed with doing all the starting point, I've gone through and created a basic one that I can take and copy into your course, and then you can go in and delete my stuff and put your stuff in. So I'm kind of like giving you like the binder with all the lovely little folders in it already so organized out. All you have to do is go put your information in. So if you want this, I'm happy to put it in there for you, but I will not do this unless you tell me to. All right. And so here's a different thing. So like here, content area, if you'll notice here, these are all content areas. Module pages. Don't believe I didn't use any of the module pages, but you could use those if you needed to. Blank page, that's like if you're just typing instructions to them. I don't see any need to use that. If ever we're going to do that, I'm going to do an announcement and notification. I'm not going to do a blank page. You can if you want to. There are tool links, the specific tools that are already created in the course. For an example, you want to send an email, and that's one of those tools where you can send everything out, okay? Oh yeah, module page, sorry. Back up. Those are also like built in already things like your calendar, the announcements, the grades, report card, those different things. You have a web link. So you want to link to another outside source that's constantly used for a resource. Course link, that's linking it to something inside your course that you want to highlight. So maybe one week you want to highlight one thing for specifically a course link. You can place that course link in there for that. Then you have your subheaders, which are the big bolded all caps that you see here. And the divider is like a visual clue for you to be able to see the difference between the two. So here's an example of what they are and what they look like here in the template course I've created. And here's a more in-depth. So when you create that content area, you've now created a place to start building and putting your stuff in. So this is like your folder. So you've made that manila folder that everything's going to be going into. That's your content area. And then you have your modules. So maybe you're going to have different tabs inside of that folder. Maybe we're going to use the module page. These are things that you know that are going to be important, like course alerts, announcement, it needs attention, your calendar, etc. Again, the blank page, I wouldn't really use this. If you want to, you can. Maybe you just want to do a quick little blurb about something. Tool links, you may find that you want to use this. You may want to use it for your discussion boards, the email, you may set up groups. There's lots of different things in there. A calendar, there's different tools that you can go play with. So if you want to, they're in there and you can go explore. Remember, I'll show you here in a minute, you don't have to actually make these visible to the students while you're playing with it. and figuring out if it's for you or not. And they're easy to delete if you decide you don't like them. Web links, again, is to a link to an outside source. It's an outside course. Next slide, please. There it goes. Course link is, it's like you want to create a temporary, like the final's coming up or the midterm, and you want that midterm right there in your content, so there's no excuse for them not to know it's there. And that's one of those times you would probably use a course link. That's where that would come in from. And then again, your subheader and your divider. The divider is that little visual clue here, that line, and then this is your subheader. And I like to make them all caps so that it stands out and makes it a little easier for you to understand. It's one of those visual clues that's easier. Oops. I love it when it goes backwards when it's not supposed to. Now, how do students know how to navigate your course? We think intuitively they just know everything. Again, they don't always. So you need to start here, and in here, that's where you're going to explain everything for your course. You're going to put it out in black and white. You're going to put that video showing them how to get to your course, how to understand things for your course, what's important about your syllabus, what's not important about your syllabus. You're going to place that here. They need that start here. If this is a student, the first time they've ever been in class, they've never known you, never been in class, they don't know I need to go to my syllabus sometimes. Sometimes what we think is logical, they don't. So put that start here for them to go to. How do you've created this content area, now what do I know to put into it? You're going to need to take your syllabus, because remember, that's your roadmap, and this is going to tell us how we're going to organize things. So you're going to break them into chunks, because again, we don't want to have more than 8 items on that little scrolly wheel. And you're going to use whatever you want it to be. It can be lessons, it can be weeks, it can be learning models, it can be units, it can be whatever you want it to be, however it works for you and your organization for your course. You use what works for you. Just make sure that you keep that consistency and you keep those chunks. So if you say in your syllabus that you're going to cover 5 units, then your chunked area here for your content area should have 5 units. It should match whatever you say in your syllabus. Okay, here's the biggest one, and this one was a little confusing for me when I first started working in Blackboard. What the heck is the difference between a content folder and a learning module? Did not understand it because I wasn't thinking and I wasn't clicking on the student view. And then I started, oh, in a student view, I got it. Light bulb came off. Content folder, think of that as just your regular folder where everything says boom, 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 listed down on a line. A learning module is like the whole binder and everything's been put together and it's been closed up for the students and they have to follow in a very control order. I prefer the learning module because it's making the students go the direction I want them to go. You can use whichever one you prefer. It doesn't matter. But that's your main difference between the two. And what I've done is I've included some examples here. So here's a content folder. This is what it looks like. And the learning modules where everything's collapsed, put together. I want to remind you, whichever one you use, don't use more than 8. Notice how this has way more than 8 different chunked areas in it. And if a student has to scroll to get to it, they're more than likely going to miss something important. We don't want that. So you want to make sure you keep it nice and streamlined and easy to get to. Just think about how frustrated you get when you get to a website and there's something you're looking for and you have to scroll all the way down the freaking page to get to it. And you think of it the same way for the students. You know, it's the same thing for you in the class. We don't want them frustrated. We want them successful. So here's the instructor's views of the content folder and the learning module. Notice there's really not any difference at all, right? Student, there's a huge view in the difference. Student is going to see it the exact same way the teacher does in the content folder. Learning module, they will not. It is going to come to them the way you want them to go, and they have to click next to browse to what they need to go to. My personal preference is the learning module. It doesn't matter which one you want to use. I just find this one is easier and more user-friendly because there's less choices. They know what they've got to go to next. And if they need to jump back to something that they viewed, they can read right here as easily what it is. Your choice again. What works for you is what you use. No matter which choice you use, always start off with like a little learning mini lesson at the top. So this is explaining what it is you're doing, reminding them what is your objective, what is the student going to be doing, what are their performance objectives, what are they doing, any requirements, prior knowledge, etc., and what's the actual assignment, what's the expectation for that particular chunk, that lesson, that unit, that week, that whatever you're calling it, that module. Some design hints. Here's one that I've done, and I've even done it even today. I go into a course and I need to go do something and I can't do it, and it's because the little edit button here needs to be turned on. I've discovered sometimes if I'm working in a course and maybe a professor's working in a course, we're working together, if one of us is in, it'll turn off for the other person. So sometimes you need to turn it back on so you can get in. That's a common frustration. I literally spent like 10 minutes one day and I was ready to choke the computer because I couldn't get into it, and then I realized, duh, I didn't have that checked on. Also, you might sometimes just want to go to student view and you just want to see what it looks like for the students. And that's just a good habit to get into. You also may decide, hey, I'm into this. This is really cool. I want to make it fun and interesting. So I want to use these cool themes that Blackboard has. And that's really, really awesome because that means you're owning the class and you're really going to make it fun and interacting. And it makes me excited because you're excited, right? Okay. To get to it, you click on the little rainbow, like a little panoramic book. But let me warn you now, for the love that's all that's holy, please look at it from the view of everybody, because some of these designs, these things that they allow you to use, are not good graphic design uses. So when you look at them, decide what's best. Also, you like to use buttons, and buttons do really look really good when you're looking at a screen on a computer. But a lot of our students are mobile now. We're mobile, so you've got to think, how's it going to look for that person on that mobile device? So this is why I strongly caution about using those buttons, because yeah, they look really great and they do look really great on the computer screen, but if you're using somebody with an older operating system or somebody on a mobile device, it's not going to look so good. The plain text links are going to work better. So here's a couple of examples of and good, okay? All right, so this one's great, and everybody loves to use this one because it's the primary colors, and it's got the really cool apple at the bottom, and it's connected for technology, and we think, oh, yay, we're being the technology teacher. Okay, when you see this bright yellow screen, it's going to blind you. It's like, whoa, wait a minute, it's a little too much. So we have another option here, still keeping kind of that theme, but it's a little lighter. Not the best, but it's better. It's not so straining on your eyes. And then you have what's best. It's more of a soothing, easier color to understand. And you can do this however you feel it works for you, for your personality. So you can tell by my screen background, I'm very colorful, but you need to decide what's going to really work well for you in your course and meet your objectives. So just because you have a very bright and colorful personality, maybe not here is where you want to show that off at. Maybe you want it to be somewhere else. You want to make things a little easier to get through. Those buttons versus your links. Links are easier to see on all devices, whereas buttons look great on a computer screen when you're looking at it, but they're not so great when you're looking on a portable device. So you just kind of think, and if that's what you want, you can use buttons. There's nothing wrong with it. If that's your personal choice, go ahead. But just think about your end user who's using this. And to do that, if you want to add customizations, you want to add different things, the way you get to it is you scroll down to your navigation menu on the left-hand side, go down to the course management, customization, teaching styles, and in here you'll see everything else. Do not change number 1, leave it exactly like it is. Number 2 is your entering point. You can have it where they automatically land on, let's say, grades, or they automatically land on announcements. I believe the default is the notification, the announcements. You can change it to where it lands straight into your chunk, your learning objectives. So you can change your landing page if you want to. You can change your theme here also if you'd like to. And then your menu style is where you can go change it from text to buttons, and you can change the colors that are used for your buttons. If you feel that you need to have those buttons, they're there. Content view, again, leave it as icon and text, leave it as both. Your banner, so this is where you can upload a banner or a picture that you've image that you've got. My advice is to make sure this is a small image when you go into student view, that it doesn't take up the whole page and the students are going to scrolling for it. It needs to be something that's going to stay in that top area there, that's going to describe your course. If you have something you want to do, or you have an idea of what you want to use for your banner, get with me and I'll get in contact with the design team and we will work with you to get you one created for you. Okay? When you get done, hit the submit button and you're done. All right, now let me show you actually one of my courses. So here's the number 1. I've gone in course content. I'm just going to go right back here. Cancel. Again, anywhere where you've got that little square at the line through it, they're not going to see it. So I may come in here and I want to hide a link because maybe I'm working on it and I don't want the students to see this. All you do is click on that drop down chevron, that little drop down arrow, and tell it to hide. And then you go do what you need to do, and then once you're done, click on that drop down chevron again and tell it to show the link. That's it. That's how hard it is. Maybe I don't want the notification for it to be first. Maybe I want it to be past email. Just grab that little arrow, drag it down. I want to add something, so I am going to add a content area. I'm going to show you how hard that is. And let's just call it test. Make it available to users, submit. And it's going to automatically drop it down here. Now notice it's not highlighted. It's just the test. So let's say, oops, that's not what I want. I didn't want to do that, so I'm going to delete that because there's obviously nothing in it important. Sometimes it gives you the error message because it's already done it. So I'm going to make a subheader first. So here it is. And I'm actually going to add that divider also. simply because you need those visual dividers in between the different sections.